beautiful guest in the studio, Rocio. This is the first time that you've been a guest on this show, live in person with me.
Sí, en vivo y en directo. Yes,
I know.
right
No.
here.
And she brings a friend with her, so she's our audience. She'll be.
We have an audience of one.
And she brought her. She brought her because that's the loco. That's what she said. It was funny, but we're going to talk a lot about all these different variables that are going on in life and your life, especially because you've been doing some incredible stuff. We're going to talk about the game, about the mind game.
Yes.
We're going to talk about the book launch. We're going to talk about your travels, your tribulations. Of course, we got to hear that. We're going to get the skinny out of you.
You are always getting the skinny out of me.
We're going to find out all what you've been doing.
Oh my gosh.
But that's not Rocio, go ahead and tell our audience, a little about yourself and what you've done, and then we'll get started. We'll have some fun right here because we always have fun when she's in the studio, whenever she's a guest on anybody's show here. And it's been how many? Has it been years?
It's been years since you've been interviewing me, and I've had the privilege to meet with a lot of the people here, right, that have interviewed me, especially like through COVID. We had a lot of interviews that lasted sometimes up to 2 hours.
Yes, and
so they were
having
long.
COVID is no fun, So.
Yeah, no, I actually had COVID.
I got COVID
in
too.
December.
Did you know that? I got it in July.
You got it in July, okay.
Yeah, but nothing can mess with me.
I know.
Chile.
Don't they say like hierba mala nunca muere?
That's right.
That's right, right. Like.
Are you talking about smoking hierba?
No. I'm talking about like the weed, not the weeds. It's the hombre. Like of all places you go, Henry. That is not one of them.
I know, but I have to go there. It's part of it. I get that from being on some of the other shows, like with Rhonda Shea, and she's got the WTF show, which is really, really interesting. So her show is great.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell our audience a little bit about who I am and what I get to do, what I have the privilege of doing. Again, my name's Rocio Perez, and I have the privilege of helping people create their own version of their happy, healthy, wealthy life, Henry. And that's really
You didn't do a very good job on me.
No.
She tried.
I tried. You cannot blame me because, like, I tried, right?
You cannot blame me.
But you, es otra cosa, right?
Yeah, we know this, too.
We know this. So I would talk about my career. What do you want to know?
Yeah,
you want to know about our career, my life?
Because a lot of people don't know. Okay. I know about your career.
Okay, you want to know about my career? You want to talk about my life?
Yes, your life. You start with your life. Because a lot of people haven't heard this area of Rocio and the things she's gone through and how she's progressed to where she's at now. And I put it on that, and it's really nice. I put it on a powerhouse leader. I kind of set that up there. I like that. I did that myself.
I saw that. Like he creates his own promotional material, and I'm like, who is this chica that he's interviewing?
Where is she, the powerhouse leader?
I'm like, wow, like you're setting the bar right there. So like I have to come in and bring my game on. I'll tell you a little bit about myself and who I am and why it's important. As a little girl, I would run around, Henry, that little girl running around with her tattered books and saying, someday I'm going to become a teacher. I want to become a teacher. I was fascinated by school, fascinated by learning. I was that rare child that would cry when they didn't let me go to school. I'm like, I want to go to school. And I spent
speaking Spanish, did they have that problem back in the day, speaking Spanish in school?
Actually they did. I was blessed in a way as well. I wasn't, I picked up on English fairly quickly. And so growing up, that wasn't an issue. Although coming from Texas, children used to get paddled if they spoke Spanish.
And I used to always like that. I like people get paddled. No.
Henry, that's a whole different show. Okay, let's not go there. Okay, let me get back to my story, Henry. Okay,
around,
por favor, mira. You're stealing my thunder over
here. Yeah,
the show is not about Henry.
It's not WTF.
It's not WTF. So as a little girl, I spent my days visualizing my future, and I would talk with my older brother. I'm like, someday, brother, we're going to grow up. What do you want to do when you grow up? What do you see? And I would inspire him to talk about his life. Yet the reality was very far-fetched. I grew up in extreme poverty and extreme abuse of all kinds. And moving throughout my life, like I would see myself in a future and say, someday I'm going to grow up, and someday my life is going to be amazing. And as I continue to move forward, oye, Henry, me estás distrayendo ya.
Making sure we see how everybody was like
right?
with you.
Everybody. I'm like, come on.
Amarillo, Dublin.
Amarillo, we go Dublin, all the way around the world.
Yes.
I love it. And so, as I was moving around in my life, I always had this vision that I would become a teacher. And unfortunately, at the age of 12, I made one of the hardest decisions of my life, and that was to run away. I ran away from the abuse. I knew that my life wasn't going anywhere, that I would potentially end up dead. And that was a harsh reality to swallow. And I remember looking at my grandmother one day and saying, "Grandma, you know they're going to kill me."
Wow.
And watching my grandmother be defeated, completely defeated, and saying, "I know."
Wow.
And I'm like, "I need you to help me." And as we were planning, like I planned my escape, I planned running away. Life wasn't easy. And
At 12 years old.
At 12 years old, you know, like, and talking about running away again, like, I feel like I spent a good part of those years running away from these situations that were very difficult, that most people would retreat from that and stay in that abuse. And I knew that there was so much more to life than living that. And as I was moving forward through that, people didn't talk about mental health back then. Like, even when I ran away for the second time, okay, when I ran away, I ended up living with my grandparents, and I would spend my evenings and days thinking about, like, how that abuse impacted me, and I couldn't make it in my mind. I just couldn't contemplate the fact that parents would abuse their children. It just didn't cross my mind. The reality of it. And yet right now, knowing what I know today, is that child abuse is the greatest epidemic.
It's going on big time.
It is big time. You can put all the disease, put heart disease and cancer and everything together. Children experience child abuse at an alarming rate in this country and all over the world, right? That we're not being heard, that we're not being communicated, that people don't understand mental health from that perspective when a child has that abusive background. And for me, I got into smoking and drinking and partying and ditching simply to numb the pain.
You dropped that now. You don't have none of that.
Right, none of that, right? Because I made that decision at the age of 14 when I ran away for the third time. At the age of 14, I ran away with my 22-year-old boyfriend, and I had made a decision.
22-year-old boyfriend?
22-year-old boy. If you could only imagine how crazy that is.
That is, 14, 22, that's
yeah, I was a little
8 years.
girl. And when you think about that, I was robbed of my childhood. I was robbed of my teenage years. And now I had to jump into womanhood in a way that nobody should ever have to. That instead of having a quinceañera, my coming of age party, here I was having a baby and doing the best that I could in my life to not only survive, but to also lead the way. I knew as a Latina, uneducated, menial labor, a teenage mother in an abusive relationship.
Was it abusive?
It was extremely abusive.
The 22-year-old.
The 22-year-old became 23, and he dislocated my jaw. He busted my ribs. There was a lot of things that happened.
That hurt me.
And I spent time, like I would spend my nights laying on the ground at times, thinking about, like, how am I going to plan my next escape? Because
out of this one.
Yeah, I talked about that next escape because it took me many, many, many failed attempts. And as I was moving through that and finally figured it out, like, I would leave, he would come find me and threaten me, and I'd have to, like, I found myself coming back. It was horrific.
It's almost a movie.
It was not a movie, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare to see and to experience that. And I remember at the age of 15, I knew as a Latina, teenage mother, abusive relationship, 6th grade education, that my son didn't stand a chance in the world. So I was knocking on the Community College of Denver's doors so that I can go to university and doing whatever it took. To get there. It was 8 hours. I divorced my parents at the age of 15.
I like the way you put that.
I did. I divorced them. I'm like, hey, you know what?
Have you ever spoke with them again?
I have, as a matter of fact, because I've gotten to.
Are they proud of you?
I believe in forgiveness. I'd say they're proud. My father's deceased sons, and I would say that they get to see what they get to see, right?
Yeah.
And they either, I do hear that they're proud. My mother is proud. My family's definitely proud.
Do you feel like all this abuse and stuff has catapulted you to do these things? It pushed you. It was like the pushing force that allowed you to continue with what you thought you wanted in your life?
You know what? One of the fascinating
A
things.
leadership. Look
you
at
know what?
powerhouse leader.
Yeah.
That reflects you.
I became a powerhouse leader because of that. Because you know what?
Use that, please.
Without that, I wouldn't be half the woman that I am.
That's right.
Had my parents been half the parents that I wish they would have been, I wouldn't be half the woman that I am today. That taught me empathy. It taught me connection. It taught me drive. You know, when you can use those particular things to fuel you to go to the next level. When people are telling, when your own mother's saying, you're gonna fail, you're never gonna make it, right? You should quit.
Yes.
To me, it fueled me because my son was far greater than the comments that I heard, right? That I knew I had the opportunity and the privilege, because it is a privilege to lead. It is a privilege to create something new. It is a privilege to stay focused on your mission.
Yes. And your son, you have a son now, and he's older now. Did you teach him a lot of your ethics, your morals, your goals, your objectives? I'm sure you did.
Most definitely, you know, it's fascinating. I'm like watching all these countries that are watching us right now.
That's why I put it up there. She says, what are you doing?
I'm like, come on, where are all these countries? Like, I'm seeing the UK, I'm seeing Dublin, I'm seeing everywhere here, all over the world that this is being premiered in. I say that I didn't raise a child. I raised a man.
I like the way you put that.
I raised a man because I knew the person that I wanted my son to be, and I molded him into be that. I wanted.
Did he have any issues or any problems growing up in school?
For the most part, he was a pretty tame child, pretty calm.
I like that. Tame. Then I thought of myself when she said.
No. And then I look at him like, let's not go there, Henry, because you have another story. But you know what?
See, look at that blush.
I think he was, you know, as he was growing up, he was a great child in many aspects. You know, coming from where I even had people saying, you know, honey. You know, being a teenage mother, the statistics of your child failing are super high. Well, can you imagine, like, growing up with those comments with people around, you know, instead of feeding and breathing life into me, I had to breathe it into myself.
Right.
I had to believe in myself. And as a result of that, I raised a caring, compassionate, empathetic
wow,
individual.
all the words. Yeah, I
right?
like that. Yeah.
All the words.
How is he now? I mean, he's a mature adult, a mature man. And he's brought you a child. Now you're a grandmother.
I'm a grandmother, right? Like, what a concept. I should be having children, right? I should be having children, my grandchildren's age, and I'm saying two because you don't know about the baby just yet. So I have an 8-year-old grandson. His name is Emilio. He's a great little guy.
He loves you to death.
Yeah, I teach him how to be unstoppable. I'm like, because it is a mindset. Like, success is a mindset. And we get to have the privilege to connect through that, right? That the way that we see the world is very unique, and we get to connect through that. I have a 4-month-old granddaughter. Her name is Esme. I have the privilege to be around them and teach them how to be unstoppable.
And I like that word you're using, unstoppable, and you're leading into the book.
I'm leading into the book. So I have a book titled, it's an international bestseller on Amazon. And we get to share those thoughts and insights with people. I created that book, Henry. People were coming to me like, Rocio, take me with you. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I want to go to people.
Let's go.
There's so much that we can do. And unstoppable was one way. Sometimes people had the time and they didn't have the money. Sometimes people had the money and they didn't have the time. Sometimes people wanted to have more time. And it's like, wow, how do I create some products and services where people can thrive? That I can help many people all over the world. And I've had the privilege to work with people from Denver to Singapore and all over the world. And with that being said, that's unstoppable. 7 steps to becoming a more intentional leader. It's been an extraordinary privilege to help people through that book. It's also in Spanish. Henry, the day that I launched it in English, I hadn't even been through with the launch. People are like, where's the Spanish one?
Yeah.
And knowing that I speak Spanish, so my Spanish audience is like, Rocio, you need to do something for us.
Habla en español,
por favor. You know, like, hola, ¿cómo están, right? So, lanzamos ese libro en español y ha sido un gran éxito. So we've launched that book. It's been an extraordinary success all over the world. And then the other thing, you know, like when we're talking about things that we can do to help people, I've taken my experiences, Henry, because we can look and we can either fall in a corner and cry, we can blame the world for our life experiences, or we can take that learning, that lesson, things that we can do to become that that person that we desire to be based on those life experiences. See, if my parents would have given me everything, I wouldn't be the compassionate, empathetic, understand unconditional love, understand how to guide people, really tap into my empathy to know where people are coming from. So I've turned that as a gift. Like, I mine those diamonds.
Now the thing you're talking about, mining diamonds, you know, the COVID thing, being sat down for all that time and not being able to do a lot of things, put you back quite a bit. Because you were doing some, you know, speaking engagements and doing a lot of fun things, but it made everybody sit back. And we talked about that. You said, well, we have to resort to Zoom and all these other things that were coming out that people were doing in which to still get the word out and talk about a lot of things. And that's where you were coming on with us quite a bit. You came in here live with
was it Paul that I came out like? It may have been Paul, and I know we did quite a few with Charlie.
Did you do one with
well.
Sylvia, or that was Zoom?
I believe that may have been in person. I'm not too sure. You know, like there's been so.
Yeah, you came in with Charlie. I remember that.
I think since then I've had 100+ interviews, and so like, okay, Henry, aquí vamos otra vez.
100+.
Right.
I've had 4. You have 100+. Can I come on your show? No.
Yeah.
What's your name?
I'm
Enrique
like,
Julieta.
well, he was so funny. I was sharing with Joanne today. I'm like, Joanne, like Henry's like, how many years do I have to hunt you down for an interview? And I'm like, okay, Henry, okay.
Do you remember that?
I will come back.
You will never forget that.
I'll never forget that because you were haunting me with that. You're like, you denied me interview. I'm like, okay, Henry.
You don't deny Henry after that.
You don't deny him. And I'm like, okay.
I told you that.
He did.
Whoever you think you are.
I'm like, okay.
That was so funny. I'll never forget that.
It's been really fun.
Why did you deny me?
But really, you know, we were talking about COVID. Like a lot of people retreated. And for me, I came off the stage. I was in anywhere from 40 to 50 meetings, stage appearances, events, and so forth on a weekly basis. And then all of a sudden, like, overnight, I'm like...
But you were doing something cool on Zoom.
Yes.
You were doing those small little vignettes.
Yes.
And I was liking them.
Oh, my gosh. We were doing vignettes,
yes.
And we were doing a lot of things. So I hosted over COVID daily inspiration calls to keep people inspired 7 days a week in English, and then followed by Spanish. It was a lot of great things.
It worked out really nice. And
it worked
you know,
out
you were
beautifully.
gathering audience from that, and even though they wouldn't like or whatever, you can't gauge, because if they're just watching, not liking, doing anything, you can't really gauge.
Right.
You were drawing an audience really nice.
Yes, we've had an extraordinary audience, and you know what COVID gave us the privilege was to slow down. It gave me the privilege to slow down, to think about life. You know, what's important? What am I chasing money, or am I living my heart's passion?
Living your dream.
Living my dream, doing what makes my heart sing. And that's one of the most extraordinary things that came out of this,
sing.
Right? Like, I
I'm
do what makes
that.
my heart
I'm biting
sing
off that one.
I see it. Like, I see Brazil, Canada, where I'm like, look at all these amazing places. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. It's pretty exciting. So the other thing that we launched during COVID that it gave me the opportunity to take time to look at that, it was the Mind Shift game. I said, okay, now it's time. We had been piloting a lot of different programs.
This was being put on over at the Regis University.
And
that was so cool.
Right.
Everybody was following it.
Right. People were like following from all over the world as
Rooting
we were
on
launching, you know, piloting our programs and launching. And today, like tomorrow, we have our live events.
Oh, nice.
So for those people that want to come join us, you know, they can call me directly, connect with me so that
you
they can
put your
get
number up there if you like.
Well,
you don't want to.
You know, you can actually call me at 303-587-8367. As a matter of fact, it's in the flyer, Henry.
That's right.
It's 303-587-8367.
I put it out there. Everybody's calling you. They're texting
People are calling me.
hey,
They're like, hey,
girl.
come over, and I'm like, peace out for everyone.
I got food, drink, and entertainment.
Yeah,
Come on down.
And we do, right? That's part of the admissions for people that want to come and connect. We are on Eventbrite as well. You can look under the Mind Shift Game Live. So that game is transforming the world because it is the first self-coaching system in the world, Henry.
Right.
That gives the power back to the people because everything that we need is already inside of us.
And I've said that, you know, a lot of people will only use 10% of their mind or their brain, and where you can actually make it move up to 10, from 10 to 15, 20, 25%. If you're doing that, sometimes you're laying awake at night. You can't shut it down. You think, what's wrong here? You have all these ideas, all these things, and you come back, you try to make them work. They kind of mold into something different each time, but you still make them work.
Right.
And that's what you did with the Mind Shift game. You flipped
did.
it, and you kept putting things together. And you were dreaming up stuff. Hey, that don't sound right. Let's read this.
Right, let's do this over it. And that's part of being an entrepreneur, is being able to bring products, right? Because you can sell a product or you can create a product that uplifts humanity. And for us was, we wanted to level the playing field. I said, you know what? I spent almost 4 years and close to half a million. In the creativity of it, right? Yeah. In the creativity, and $500,000 in the creativity. And people don't have, if they don't have money, credit, whatever, like I did whatever it took.
Whatever it took to get you there.
Whatever it took to get me there. And when I discovered, I said, wow, if I can transform my life, other people can do the same. But what if they don't have the resources?
That's right.
What if they don't have the time or the money or whatever that may be? And we boxed it up. I took the best of the best that we had for our clients that was making them successful and said, hey, here you go. It's all packaged in this beautiful box so that you can lead yourself. Like, you're the one who knows everything about you.
That's right.
No coach is ever going to be there long enough so that they know everything about you. And we have a community.
And that's within your id. The id is within yourself.
It is, like, all the magic is within us here now. And when we can remember what that magic of who we came here to be, not who we became to be.
And I like, by naming it the mind shift game, your mind is very creative. Now, you have to be creative. You have to let your imagination go sometimes. And that's what you do with the mind shift game. And it's very creative in how you put it all together. People admire you for being able to go from start to finish. Some people, I'll finish it in 3 years. Right. I'll finish it next week.
And like, the future's never here,
that's right?
The future continues. It's very elusive. It continues to move even further into the future. But really, when we have a passion that's far greater than who we are, like, here it is. It's huge, right? It changes. It's going to transform. It's already transforming the lives of individuals all over the world. It's impacting people who even want to help with it. They're like, how do we volunteer?
Have you putting it in Braille?
You know what? That is fascinating. That's the next level, right? That will be our next level.
Because there's a lot of people who cannot see.
Right.
And, Braille, and they can, putting it into Braille, a lot of people will be able to do it that way too. There's all these variables, even in different languages, correct?
There are, in different languages. And speaking of languages, one of our passion is to reach out to people in Spanish, so that would be the next language, in French and Portuguese and Chinese. And there'll be other languages as they come along. We will also be putting it into the app, so the app will be soon to follow, as well as others, like even online. People are everywhere. So that's going to be able to reach people at an even greater level. It's on the go. We do have the physical game, Henry, and there's an importance about people knowing that the game is physical. There's a lot of research, especially research about journaling and the impact that it has on the brain.
And how to do it.
Affirmations and how to do it. Like, we have an instruction manual on how people can play, and they get to play however they want. It's like you're playing for your best life right now.
Right, yes.
What does that look like when we start to create the life that we love and desire? And then within a matter of weeks, you start to reap the benefits of those successes. And that's what the Mind Shift game provides.
And you know how you say reaching around the world, because with KUHS we have Greg Rashid in Bangkok, Thailand, that reaches from over there back this way, and he has the reach to all these other areas that we from here cannot reach like he can reach. We have Peter Hatton in the northern quarter. He reaches all over Europe, Amsterdam, Italy, London, Paris, France, Korea, South Korea, the Korean place. And so, we've reached a lot of people this way. And as they hear about this, the Mind Shift game, she's talking to you about all the different languages that could be reached in later on. But for now, it could still be reached, and you can still use it. Utilize it. What's the cost? Can you download it, or you have to have the physical game to buy it?
Right now, it is the physical game for that, and the cost is $500.
Yeah, which is very inexpensive.
Which is very, very affordable. It's not even 1 hour of coaching. If you could imagine that.
I know, because that's what it costs.
Right, because it costs like sometimes even $1,000 for one coaching session.
That's right. Yes, that's right.
And that's where
easily. So you have a coaching organization.
I have a coaching organization as well.
So let's talk about that.
Oh my gosh!
What do you coach in?
I coach on mindset. It's the same thing, Henry. Like, people that come to us, sometimes they want to earn more money, or they want to market, or whatever it is. Sometimes people come to us because fix my husband. Right? We're not here to fix husbands, okay? We're not here to fix wives or business partners. You come in with a hammer. I'm like, there is no hammer, there is no whip. Okay.
Right.
like,
him.
okay, we'll fix him. Like, is he hungry? What's going on, right? But really, when it comes down to, it's a way of being. It is a way of being.
What about fix the mujeres?
Well,
it went one way. Don't start me.
Oye, con las tortillas,
Yeah.
you know, give him some tortillas here. But really, really what it is, right there, Henry.
Buñuelos.
Right, buñuelos, you
Yeah.
know, some, I don't know, tamarindo. Let's
Yeah.
give him something to drink too, right? So that's the beauty of it, is that when people come in and they realize that the power is within them,
Yeah.
that they realize that at one point or another they took on maybe a personality to survive, right? Because sometimes we don't think about the mask that we wear. But really
And
think
I like the
about
way you
that.
put that. Like, I was going over the id.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got the ego, and then you got the super ego, and then you also
Right.
have the mask that you put on for just doing this show. The
Right.
mask you put on for being out there in
Right.
the, you know, on the highway. The mask you put on for, you know, picking up a chica or a chica picking
Right.
up a guy, and how they
Right.
put on these different masks to be somebody different.
Right,
And
and which is fascinating, and we learn that at a very young age,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So we have the mask of mother, father, teacher, preacher, brother, sister.
Mother's mother, son's
Right, like
roommate twice
all,
removed.
all of these masks that we wear to be safe around and accepted
right.
and loved and connected with, and at the end of the day, like, you don't hear me to shut up, okay? Because Joanne can tell you, like, Rocio's always talking, like this
Seguro
level,
que sí,
I'm
no?
always talking.
We have a big audience out there,
Right.
Joanne.
We got audience of one, waving to our audience. And so, with that, like, it's the princess wave, okay? It's
Oh,
the
the
princess
princess
wave.
wave.
And
Not
so,
like this.
not like this, but like the princess wave. And so,
What's the
Henry,
prince wave?
so when I don't know. We'll have to figure that one out. So, when we start to take off that mask, Henry, to figure out, like,
Are you trying
this
to
is
tell
not
me to take it off?
mask.
I'm not taking it off.
Henry, no me asustes. And so, when we start to see where we're being inauthentic, where we're acting like an imposter, where we're pretending that everything is perfect, and really start to get at the core of who we are, who we came here to be, not who we became to be, right? The became to be is like, I became funny just to survive in my environment, or I became like this ultra giver just to be accepted, right? That we can be that authentic self. That's a whole different level of humanity. Tapping into our true humanity.
She's touching me. I'm gonna cry.
You just cry, Henry, like you should be crying.
No, it's touching. It's because you have that leadership skill. That's why you. It is. It grabs you. And so, what's nice about Rocio is that you can motivate people with your motivational skills. I can't even get that apocito, huh? She got me flustered.
Yeah, I know.
She
I'm
was.
like, okay.
She was on it right there.
Let me turn on the air.
It is on. It is still hot. Tell me some more. I like this.
Do some more.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think at the end of the day, Henry.
How come it's always at the end of the day?
Oh, okay.
At the end of the day, it gets dark.
How about we start here?
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's start here.
Yes, the end of the day, the end of the day. No, yeah.
We have these morning
I'm blessed.
motivation. You are you're blessed and highly favored, aren't you?
Yeah.
So, en serio, ¿verdad? And so, Henry, this is really fun. You know, we have a morning motivation.
Hold on, I gotta get this laugh out.
Do you need some water, Henry?
I do. Pobrecito, man.
Oh yeah, man, you do need some water. So we have morning inspiration calls where people get to come in and connect and really just start meeting that authentic self,
Right.
meeting ourself, start to create the life that we love and desire, because our mission in this organization, my mission when I started this organization, was to help people create their version of a happy, healthy, wealthy life. Their version, right? Where they can be happy and feel fulfilled, that they're getting everything that it is that they desire out of life. That's our vision. That's my vision. Where I can see that children are safe, people are happy, they're feeling fulfilled, that people are self-actualizing, actually having what it is that they desire in their life. What a concept,
I like that.
right?
Keep going. Go on.
Síguele,
Go on.
síguele, síguele.
Ándale pues, dale gas.
Dale gas, right? And
you know, you're listening, for in case you're just joining us, we're on KUHS radio, internationally driven right now. We're all over the world, and we're talking to Rosario Perez. And I called her the powerhouse leader because if you ever get to hear this woman speaking engagements for women conferences, women luncheons, all these fun things that you are always at. Also being here on KUHS, we always get the honor of showcasing her, so as to speak, as today as a powerhouse leader. You got to hear about her growing up and some of the things she's created, and her now in a leadership role. And your goal is to?
My goal is to help as many people as possible, and especially children, right?
So you're looking at the children.
I'm looking at the children. I'm looking at adults, women, children, people, humanity. At the end of the day, some of us have extraordinary gifts, and it's important for us to share those gifts, right? Excuse me, like our gifts, your gift is different than my gift. For us,
what would you say my gift is?
I have no idea.
I knew you were going to say that. I just knew it. You don't leave me out. That's wrong.
I don't give you enough credit.
I know you don't.
Oh yeah.
The minute you walked in, you were smiling.
I was smiling. I'm like, okay, Henry. What am I in for? Do you remember that interview? And we'll get back into this in a moment.
Because we got to talk about
that interview, right? That you jumped into, and you're like, Rocio, he drilled me for like an hour and a half. If you get to listen to that interview, he asked me about my boyfriend. He asked me about my day. He asked me about. I'm like, Henry, where do you stop?
It couldn't stop. And everybody asked me about that interview. Why were you asking her all those questions? That was pretty cool. I like that. I stood glued to it. It was like a daytime show, man.
Right?
It was
I'm
great.
like, oh my gosh.
And Rocio was like, what?
I'm like, Henry, like, I do not know what's going to come out of your mouth. But really getting back to my passion, my dream, and helping children, we are in the process of creating a children's game, the Mind Shift game for children.
Wow.
Like, what an extraordinary opportunity that children can pick up this game and start to see a different world.
A sort of like theraplay.
Right, it is a theraplay, and it's not, and it's also a build-a-play. It builds children's mindset in a way.
Now, there's a lot of children out there who, because of how they were created, the man, the woman, had different upbringings, and they created this child. Sometimes their brain isn't this keen, and this child game can really probably help them to initialize that brain that they have that's so creative.
And it's fascinating when we start looking at the brain research into I should have been a neuroscientist, right? But here we are. When we look at brain research, when a child's mind hasn't been stimulated versus a child's mind to be stimulated, we can literally see the brain waves on the areas of the brain where that child's brain has been, they have been stimulated. There's certain areas of the brain that will be illuminated versus the other areas. And the beauty of children they're so resilient that children get it really, really fast, that they're sponges. They start to absorb things. So that's where we're going in the future. When you talk about our future global impact, that is it. There's the games for children. There's books for children. There's helping children how to be unstoppable in their own nature. And then there's so much there to talk about, Henry. We can be here all week. As a matter of fact, you should get me a radio show here, right?
Okay. See how she put that into my mind?
Right? Like it's called presupposing.
But if you do, if you do that, you have to do it in both languages. That's a requirement here.
There we go. We're going to have to do it in both languages,
especially if you have a dual language. Now, I was going to ask you this question. This is really interesting. I think you'll like this question. AI. How are you going to input AI into this game? Because AI right now, I've been playing with AI for 3 years. I got the latest version. I've got the Google one. They keep sending me all this stuff. I got the latest version of 4.0, and it's different. It's kind of weird. You can even create it to make you almost replicate your voice, create documents, create commercials, everything. It's like, whoa, in my voice.
It's fascinating.
So how can you utilize this? Have you thought about AI, ChatGPT?
Right, I've used ChatGPT. There's a lot, I'm definitely always exploring technology and how we can reach even more people and meet them where they're at. as well as even the metaverse too, when we talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
There will be a version of the game in the metaverse where people from all over the world can connect and have that experience with their avatars and really just start, breaking virtual bread and also breaking those barriers from a cultural perspective everywhere, right? We're not always there. To start bonding on the human level, really, because our humanity is one of those things that we don't tap into as much.
Yeah, like I want to create, utilizing AI, a clone of me and sit him right there and have a chat. Wouldn't that be interesting and funny? No, I'm telling you, watch this, and have it like even you, and chat with yourself, and then we chat back.
That would be scary.
No, it would be fun.
That would be scary.
It would be so fun. It would be tuning like, what the hell?
They would be doing a double take. It's
Yes.
going to look like Joanne and I yesterday. We were taking photos, and we have a photo as a twinsy, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we look like twins. That is super scary and funny at the same time.
Well, they both locked in, start talking to me in Spanish and stuff.
Right.
Pobrecito Enrique.
Yeah, Enrique.
Go get some water.
Yeah, Enrique, go get us some water. Right? Give me some agua. No, but it's. Okay. No, it's been a lot of fun, and right now the next thing that we launched in recent launch, we'll have it is an international launch as well. It is a book launch of the Hispanic Journey, Stories of Leadership, Tenacity, and Grit of Hispanic leaders from various backgrounds. As a matter of fact, Joanne Siracusa is one of our co-authors as well. And we have both men and women of extraordinary backgrounds who have paved their own way with education, without education. It doesn't matter, right? It is talking about the human journey. How did we get to where we're at right now? Anyone from any culture can learn from that. And that's
what's nice about what's nice about this book, it gives you a perspective. Now there's written components for the Latinos or the Hispanics or Latinx. I don't care what they're called. I don't like the Latinx thing. That one kind of is like, whenever I see an X, it's like you're Xing us out. I don't know why. I just don't like that. That's my view on it. It should have been something else, but we're not Latin. It's like, I look at a lot of things. If they were naming us Hispanics, Chicanos, Latinos, Mexicanos.
I mean, over 26 Hispanics or cultures, right? Latino America, from Latino America, and many different dialects, even within España. We look at it in Mexico, Latino America.
That's right.
And how that's all different, and we do have individuals from all over Latino America represented in that. And the most important thing, it's about sharing that human story from our humanity. What were those trials and tribulations? We know that the book is touching, moving, inspiring people from all over the world.
Would it be? I always thought about that book. No, I always thought, okay, so you got Netflix and they're putting series. Wouldn't that be nice to take that into a series? Now I have movie makers who can put that into a series.
I love it.
And so if you had a series of each individual one in a series, talking about each one in a little storyline, like they do on Netflix, like they had the Gentefied. Did you ever watch Gentefied?
I have not.
It is the most incredible 10-piece series of a little movie.
I love it.
Now, if you can remember that Gentefied, everything is based inside this burrito shop.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I vas con la comida. You're making me hungry.
Yes.
Don't you know that I eat every 3 hours?
Yes, I do too. And so it's really neat. And they got the gal who did Ugly Betty. I forgot her name.
Okay, I don't remember her name.
She played Ugly Betty. Yes. And so they use her in there. And so even these guys in lowriders walk in, "Orale, ¿qué pasa?" And then the grandma says, "Oh, shut up. I'm trying to order my," they really put on a show. And they're trying to get rid of the burrito shop so they can remove it and put up a building and stuff. And they won't let go of the burrito shop. And that's what this is about. Gentefied. And so it is so funny. It's the most funniest show. And it's real cool. And so that would work well with the book.
And it would be amazing. I'd love to have those conversations. We started almost a year ago talking about having something very similar to that. Mm-hmm. And all in perfect timing, right, Henry? Because our mission is so far greater than now, right? This is the launching pad of everything that we're doing. So yes, the TV. As a matter of fact, we're going to have a podcast.
I go down there
It's coming up as well.
I go down there a lot, and I the Netflix people hit me up a lot because they want to do storylines on me, and I think
I know, like of all
No.
people, because I even told him, like, Henry,
The
why don't
story
you, like,
is incredible.
why don't you have these, like, talks for men, right? And let's talk about, because you're an extraordinary man. I love your view on relationships.
Oh my
No,
gosh,
no.
I did one with Dr. Elisa, she had to stop.
I'm going to say, you know what, be quiet for a moment, because I want to acknowledge you. And I'm saying right there, you have so much talent and gifts to share with people. I know, like, he was just, like, going off, right? Because you feel uncomfortable, right? You have such extraordinary talents.
I feel uncomfortable.
I know some days you're
because
like,
you're close to me.
I know, I make you nervous.
Such a powerhouse leader, close to me. Híjole. Ándale pues, dale gas.
Dale gas, no. I think there's so many gifts inside of us. So yes.
Do I ever look uncomfortable?
98% of the time. Nada más cuando está dormido ahí. It's so funny because what was it, 2 years ago we were filming here, right?
Oh, that's
was
right,
it 3 years? Almost 3 years ago we were filming here, right? And had an amazing time filming for the game. We were actually really cool, filming for the game. And it's been extraordinary. But see, you know, like it's been so much fun these last few years, connecting and helping people and collaborating and bringing information to them so that they can.
There's been some incredible people walking into this
it.
place that, you know, I learned so much off of, and I get to collaborate with them, and I get to, you know, anybody who comes in here, and these people who had, you know, the doctors, you know, Dr. Elisa, Dr. Lowe, all of them that were bringing these incredible people here. It's like Jesus, you know, and it teaches you quite a bit, and it's nice to have that kind of aspect in here. Now look who we have.
Oh my gosh. En serio. Really, really thinking, it's fascinating, right? Life is a journey. And what I could say to people, share with people, we all know what makes our heart sing. We all know that.
Like, you know what makes my heart sing?
What makes your heart sing, Henry?
Look me in my eyes, tell me what makes my heart sing.
What makes your heart sing?
Music.
Music.
Romantic music.
Romantic. Can you come to my event tomorrow and play romantic music?
I sure would.
All right. Okay. Everybody heard. He's coming to the event. Okay.
Romantic.
He better be there.
I know.
Play. Do you play guitar?
Like I play the piano and I play the drums.
All right. Awesome. Well, I play the piano.
What's interesting is I put a piece that I played. Paul Chavez recorded. We used to have a piano in our last studio, and I got and I was wailing away, and everybody says, "You know how to play piano?" Yes, I play piano real well.
Very nice. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing you.
Yeah, and I played the drums. We had a band, 2 bands, and so one had a horn section.
And it's not like a rubber band, but just
no,
a band?
Not a rubber.
Okay.
The rubber bands are for my Kia Rio. I have a Kia Rio. You got to put a rubber band on it to make it go. I should have put a bib on you. It's dripping out. Just kidding.
I didn't feel it, but like, you know what, if you see it, those times you love to make fun. I love coming here with you, Henry. Just like the fact that we get to have conversation, have fun.
Yes, I've been watching all the things you do, like I said, all the different variables, and it's nice that you attract, and that's what's nice. You attract people to, what is she doing now? And that's what's nice. I see people that of all walks of life, of all educational backgrounds, from people who just have a high school diploma all the way to the ones with doctorate degrees.
They do.
You know, so it's really nice to understand what you're doing and know what you're doing. You're an incredible person, and so to bring you here was fun. And I thought, hey, you're really coming to the studio? Yeah, hijo de carnicero. You better be clean, and better not be dirty, and better not have COVID in there.
Please, Henry. Can you be kind with me in the next interview? I did. That was a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, Henry,
she had to go say that, damn it. I was going to lay on her again. No, it was the one interview. We can talk about that. It was a one interview. We were going to go one place. She had it all planned out. She was going to talk about the book and all this stuff. And I was like itching for it. So I took her completely somewhere else. So tell us about your boyfriend. Tell us about it. I got in trouble one time.
I got in trouble?
Yeah, I got in B.B. King's daughter. She was here, right? And her publicist kept telling me, here's the thing. Don't you say anything else about that. You're telling me that.
Oh, my gosh. It was like giving you fuel, right?
Fuel! Big time fuel. So I went for it. I said, so how come you're divorced now? And that was one of the questions.
Do not ask
do
about
not
the
ask-
divorce.
yes.
You know, I think I brought you the encyclopedia. Do not ask me all these questions.
Yes.
And I think you just went off of it and asked me all the questions, and I told you not to ask
Yes,
me.
and that's what I went
That is
for.
so
I said,
funny.
that's what makes for good a good show, a good audience. And people say, "Oh, did you hear what he just asked her? What kind
Yes,
of
they
dress?
have.
What's her color of dress she uses when
Oh,
she
my
goes out
gosh.
dancing?" I was having a blast.
You were having a blast.
It was fun. You're interesting, and like I said, all the different. If you look at all the different interviews that we've had with Rocio, you've done a fantastic job handling each personality. Like you said, everybody's different. Everybody has their own mindset, and of course, mine is completely different. I'm always looking for that angle, which makes for great media content, you know. So, and that's why I was looking for yours.
Yeah.
No, Rocio, you're not going to be all
Oh, my
AJ
gosh.
squared away with me today.
Right.
It worked. It
worked.
came out really.
It was
nice.
it was an amazing interview. I had fun.
Yeah,
I had fun.
and it worked out nice. And so, tell us about the event tomorrow.
So the event is called the Mindshift Game Live. It's going to be hosted at Regis University. People can find it on Eventbrite. They can connect with me at 303-587-8367, 303-587-8367. It is from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday and from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Sunday. And people walk in to have the most amazing experience ever, because this is where we get to create our life. People, they're touched, they're moved, they're inspired, they recognize what's in their power, they take their power back, they start to create the life that they love and desire, and they walk out like high-fiving, like understanding that this is their community, because we are a community of people, of like-minded people who are striving for more out of life, and people start to move at a cadence. They start to step it up and say, hey, you know what, there's so much more that I can do. Let me move up to it, right? And we have people that continue to be with us, and it's exciting. It is a community. We're here to help. We're here to support. We're here to give our very best. We have the Mindshift system. This is where everything comes from the game to the community, that anybody who buys a game can be part of that community, where we help people, we pose questions. We're here to be supportive, Henry, at the end of the day. And then we also have the Mindshift Guild. That is an online community. Also, it is a membership community where people come in. It's an exclusive community where people come to us and let us know why they should be part of it, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because a lot of the times we hop into these programs and we don't even know why, right? We want to know why this person's going to be an extraordinary candidate, so that we know how to support them as well, right? What can we provide for them? We have leaders that come in and talk about, how do you boost your confidence? How do you build your courage? How do you expand your vision? Not mother, father, teacher, preacher's vision. It's my vision, because we get to people around my age, which I'm 27.
She starts laughing. Why are you laughing?
I'm 27 again. I get to be 27 however many times I want. But really, to look
Why
at...
are you laughing? Why are you chuckling?
Because a lot of people, you know, when they think about Henry, a lot of people are
About Henry? When they think about Henry?
They start chuckling about Henry. But when we look at it, sometimes we follow somebody else's vision. And then we get to roughly around our late 30s, somewhere in our 40s, where we're miserable, because we followed somebody else's mission, whether
And
it
so,
was a
you know,
job.
even in marriages,
Oh, yes.
they'll get with a man, or a man gets with a woman, and they acclimate, they acculturate, they assimilate, and they go down the wrong path with the wrong individual and really kill themselves. And they wonder why they're so unhappy.
Right, they do. And when you discover, it's like, am I doing this for my spouse? Am I doing this for my children? Am I doing this for my mother, father, teacher, whoever
You know
decided?
how you say that? I've got my own. I always say my brother's, others, lovers, mother's, son's, former roommate, twice removed.
Oh my gosh,
So
I'm not
you-
even going to repeat that.
I know,
ever.
but you are
Right,
saying that. That's
I
why-
am saying that because it's true,
It's
you know.
true, yeah, all these-
Sometimes our friends convince us, like my counselor said, you should go after
You have a
business.
counselor?
I did. It was a university counselor. It was an advisor.
Oh, yes.
It wasn't like
See, I had
counselor
one
price.
too. She was a nun, and man, did she
She was a
slap me.
nun. Oh,
She,
you probably
probably
were.
needed it. I needed it.
I don't know, Henry.
It was my writing skills. I mean,
was it your writing skills?
My
Oh
writing
my
skills.
gosh.
You know, she says, "Oh, I need to talk to you after class." And blah blah. Okay, she goes. She's holding mine. There's a 30-page report, you know,
Oh.
on Regis, you gotta write, and write, and write, and write.
Because you were Regis as well,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Oh.
So she says, "This is awful," and she, you know, everybody laughed. I go, "Oh, I thought she was gonna commend me and shit." No, I'm gonna tutor you, and you're gonna come in early or leave late.
I'm
And
sure you were
I couldn't
blessed
be sweet.
because of
I
that.
couldn't be sweet with her or nothing because she was a nun. She was with a ruler. He thought.
You know,
No, she didn't have the ruler. But
back in the day, you know, like
They
I
slap
come
you.
from a place that they actually did paddle you
Yeah.
back in the day. I'm glad that we're
I didn't like that.
becoming more.
I got
Right.
paddled at school by a guy, and I
Yeah.
didn't like the way he paddled me. It felt weird. That's what I was telling you.
Right,
That's
right.
weird. Why you don't be touching me?
Right.
Get your hands off my
and
butt.
which is
And
interesting.
that paddle hurt.
Right.
I didn't do nothing.
And we talk about
I think he was-
consciousness now.
I think he was just having, you know.
Mira Henry, you're going down a
No, I'm
different
telling you
path.
facts. You know,
But
this
it
is
is
my
a
thoughts
fact.
as a young boy. I said, what the hell's wrong with you?
You know what? And that's really where we're waking up as humanity.
I went
right?
looking
we're
for him when
waking
I
up
got
to
older.
to
Do you know
different. En serio?
Yes.
¿Y qué pasó?
I couldn't find. He passed away.
Oh.
I went looking for him. I was going to confront him. You know, I was going to say, what the hell's
Wow.
wrong with you? I'm here. I'm back. The guy you paddled for nothing. What were you doing
Wow.
touching me like that? I mean, they take your pants down.
Wow. Yeah, I remember hearing people. As a matter of fact, I had a cousin who died because of that. She actually had a heart attack.
Oh my gosh.
She was 16 years old. She had heart issues, and when they paddled her, she panicked and passed away. She ended up
Wow.
having a heart attack.
Wow.
Very
And
young.
your health is pretty good?
Yeah, hi Henry. En serio, like
Let's talk about you.
Let's talk about your health. You know, I believe health and mindset go hand in hand.
So mentally, now a lot of people go through some mental issues. When we were talking about that earlier,
Right, we did.
and you
We
talked
talked
about
about
that.
that.
Mental health issues are prevalent nowadays because you have all this social media and all how
Yes.
you have to be as a young lady, how you have to look. Men have to do this, do that. They're talking about TikTok making you do these things. I don't think it's TikTok. I think it's your parents and you. Get
Right.
off of the damn TikTok and watch
Right.
how you act without that TikTok.
Right.
You're still the same damn way.
You're still the same person, and when
Yeah.
you look at it, you know, when we look at technology and how it's impacting people, when it's used in a way that's not serving,
Yeah.
there's got to be consciousness in
That's right.
that.
Yeah.
And when we talk about health, you know, I think mental health is one of those things that we rarely talk about in specific places and
Right.
cultures, right? I know that in Latino community, we're like, mental health, we don't talk about
I
that.
know, how come?
But you know what? We take the car in for servicing. We
Yeah.
make sure that our
Well, we
pets have
don't.
the right.
Mexicanos don't. They go under the tree and
Yeah, they go under the tree and they fix it themselves, right? I
pull
get
the
that.
engine out.
But some people, sometimes we invest more time, energy, and money in trying to cover up issues.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, when we look at where is some of these issues that we look at from alcoholism,
Right.
where does that stand?
That's awful.
And when you read many different books, you know, I've looked at books of like Oprah's book, What Happened to You? When we start to look at brain books and all these different books that talk about, and the research says that a lot of these things come from child abuse.
Mm.
That we never addressed it. We just continue to move forward, move forward, move forward, and then we come to a point of our life that we haven't learned how to self-regulate, because that's part of it. Right?
You know, I had a fun childhood. You know, the neighbors used to have gallinas and the roosters used to chase me, and that's the only thing that I got abused by. You know,
The roosters. Those roosters can be pretty aggressive. I
can.
know ducks could, right?
Yeah, see, and I
We
used to
had
have
a
fun
duck.
with them.
Oh
so,
my.
yeah, it was pretty cool. And you know, I have perritos. You know, 3 perritos that were really good, and they would always surround me and always bite anybody who got near me. That was cool. Now I like that growing up. So I had a good childhood. I can't say I had a bad. And I was pobre. You know, I used to go steal from the segunda, and so that was pretty bad. I used to go into the other neighborhoods where they were more well off and steal off their clotheslines and shit. Hey, these pants will fit.
Oh my gosh. Hey, I guess that was life, right? When you can look at
We're
that.
talking about, you know,
Right.
how you say, you know, you had a rough childhood, man.
But look at the way that we get the privilege to grow up, right? Where we get to choose consciousness. that the way that we viewed the world as a child is different than the way that we view that as an adult, right? That we all have the internal capacity to be able to create the life that we love and desire.
Can you
It's
say that
inside of
again
you.
slower, man? That
That
was
we
pretty
have
cool.
the
I like
internal
that.
capacity to create the life that we love and desire. Like you, I, like,
Wow.
here's what distinguishes us from puppies. Like, I have a puppy that I take care of. Like,
I've heard about the puppy. You always tell me about the puppy.
Yeah, I talk about the puppy.
I said, what
Okay.
about the dog?
Kiki is a 13.5-pound dog. He's a Havanese poo. 13.5 pounds soaking wet, right? He's super cute and he's always walking around. But really what distinguishes myself from Kiki and all of us from Kiki is that we have the ability to be able to think.
Yeah.
We have the ability to be able to reflect. We have the ability to be able to create something new. Like Kiki could only be Kiki forever.
That's right.
Right? Yet I can go to school and become a teacher. I can go to school and become a doctor. I can go to school and become an attorney.
Anything you want.
I can become anything.
But look who you've become.
Look at who I've become,
You're
right?
well
I'm
admired.
the power of
Everybody
house
admires
leader,
you.
right?
You know, don't they?
En serio? Are you trying to make me blush? Because you're doing a great job.
Seguro, huh? She ain't even paying attention.
We have our one audience member who's not even paying attention. the princess right on there.
I'm a little princess now, man.
Oh my gosh.
Now, this is so funny. You like this. When I was younger, talking about growing up, I had some sisters. They wanted to dress me up as a chica. So I'm dressed up as a chica, and they got a picture of this. So the middle sister tells me all the time, okay, so here's what I got going. I go, what do you got going? I got that picture, and I'm going to wait till you get real famous, then I'm going to ask for money. And this is going viral.
Oh my gosh.
It's so funny. I go, you're cold-blooded, man. You're not going to do that. Yeah. It's going to start with a lot of money.
That is so funny.
So I'm dressed in drag, man.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
well,
what do you think of
good
this
thing
thing?
you announced that worldwide, but go ahead.
I did. Everybody's going to want to get their hands on that
we're
picture.
gonna get that hands on that picture.
So tell me about this one. Now, have you been hearing this? It's queers again. Did you hear that?
I haven't
And the
heard
younger
it
set, yeah,
personally.
you can call them queers. It's okay to say you're a queer. And that's an old school saying. They brought it back.
Wow.
I just thought I'd let you know that. Because
Well,
I was,
thank you for bringing it back.
I was in the show, and we're talking about that, and I like, look, whoa, what did you just say? And
Right.
they went
Well,
over.
thank you for bringing it to my consciousness. You know, it was not something that I was aware of.
I wasn't either, but I was able to draw on it, and I looked at,
But
you know, I looked
what?
it up and
I
everything.
think
Yeah,
the
it's-
most important thing, Henry, is like, why, you know, I think from a human to human perspective, just like at the end of the day.
You're always talking about the end of the day.
I do, because you know
What's
what?
happening at the- it only gets dark.
When you lay your head to bed,
Ooh.
were
Go on,
you the
move. Go on,
best
again.
version of yourself? Yeah, wait a minute. Don't go there. Were you the best version of yourself?
When I lay my,
Like,
I don't know. I was
Right.
tired. I was
Like,
worn out. I crawled into bed.
Can we be the, you know,
My
can we be
flatulence
that
wouldn't
person?
stop. I was just total a mess. There you go. That's
confessions, Henry.
I'm not afraid to say it. You know, don't get in the studio with him. I told you.
Don't get in the studio with him because I have conversations with you, Henry, that I have never had with another
Anybody.
host.
I know, it's
With-
fun, and you'll never forget him.
I've been on media for 21 years.
And
This is the interviews with you are something else.
And you know, I got a message from what's her name, the gal, the daughter of B.B. King, and she wrote me back. She goes, I've never been in an interview. That was so cool. Thank you for doing that. My publicist didn't want you to do that, but that was cool. And she goes, it came out nice, and it did. It came out nice. And I was thinking, well, what happened? The publicist was.
Yeah, like, cut it.
And they go. It is fun to do that. Sometimes you got to have that in the actual interview. Sometimes when you put that kind of stuff in an interview, it comes out so cool, and people like to hear that.
Yeah.
They go, did you just hear that? And that's the talk, and it gets everybody to go back and review it and look at that
But
video.
I think too, you know, like bringing levity to life too, because a lot of the time we're so serious
Yeah,
about
like the way you
life.
walked in.
The way
She
that
walked
I'm like,
in.
where is my water?
That's what she did.
No, I said it kindly. My Henry, can I have a water?
No, you didn't. You said, get your back there and get me my water.
That was not it.
What? You heard me. And you better behave when we
In
get in there.
serio?
Some of my ishis. I said it nicely.
Ay, Henry, las cosas que salen de tu boca. I have no clue.
Yeah, you do. Well, it's been real. It's been fun having one of the most pronounced leader of Denver, Colorado, in the studio with us today, Rocio Perez. And I finally got her name right. I used to always mess it up on purpose just to hear her say it. I told you how to say it.
I know, and he was saying that earlier, and I'm like,
I
okay,
do,
I'm
I
not
do
going to
that.
correct him for the 100th time.
I know.
I'm just going to let him go with it. It's
And then
Rocio.
I
Henry,
stopped saying it.
It's Rocio Perez, okay?
Say it again.
No.
Say it again.
Ya no, Henry. Tú repítelo.
Say it again.
Rocio Perez.
Looks like she's trying to get kisses. That's wrong.
Feeling the publicist.
Yeah, she's understand.
I think Joanne's like, yeah, Rocio, this
No,
man,
no.
his interview.
And it's been fun.
This is definitely one of a kind interview.
It
I think
is.
there's only 2 in the world like this ever. And
But we got to hear her and listen to all the good things that she's doing for the community, for Denver, for herself, for the world, as a matter of fact. And don't forget to catch the Mindset game
the
tomorrow.
Mind Shift game.
Mind Shift. I'm sorry.
Tomorrow,
Don't.
Mind Shift game
She about
live.
slap me, man. De un buen fregazo, menos hocico. Dios mío, she is dangerous. At the end of her interview, watch out.
Watch out. Follow her, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, we're all over.
That's right.
You know, really connect with us. Our passion is to help people create their version of a happy, healthy, wealthy life, and that's what makes our hearts sing.
And thank you for joining us, and thank you, Rocio. It's really been fun. I always have a good time with you here.
Thank you so much, Henry.
So take care now. Okay, we're good.
Oye,
Now
me
we can
contigo,
talk.
Henry, tengo que persinar aquí, hombre.
What am I, chopped liver? The one
Yeah,
audience?